What's up, everybody? Jesse and Chris with BRS Fresh, and today we're talking about the Fluval 107, and we're going to take you through how to set this thing up. Before we do, just one quick question, Chris. Why the 107?
Fluval has been a trusted brand when it comes to canister filters, and I chose the 107 specifically because it's low on flow. Fluval sells this as 10 to 30 gallons, and we have a 30-gallon over here, and I feel like it's perfect because I don't want too much flow. Aquarium plants don't like too much flow. Some fish don't appreciate it. It's the perfect filter.
Is there anything before we get into the setup that you would say is just a core benefit of this, as far as maybe ease of use or operation, that you personally like?
Yeah, what I love about Fluval is it's trusted. It's been around forever, and the quick release, as far as like we're doing maintenance, is like it's a game changer. I can literally pull these two tabs. I can be done and bring that to the sink and maintenance it.
That's
I
awesome.
love it.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, why don't we take a look at how we set this thing up?
Excellent.
All right, let's go.
We first want to start by opening up the canister filter and going through all of the media filters just to make sure that everything is how we want it, so when we set it up on the tank, it's running properly. Take a good look at all the different types of filter pads that come in these holsters and cross-compare them to the directions. What I like to personally do is take out all the filter pads and just get a feel of how they go in and out of these holsters, just so we can kind of learn how all these mechanisms work together. What's great about Fluval canister filters is they usually give you extra room to add added media if you desire to do so. If we open this up here, you'll notice that there's extra room for you to add like carbon and all types of different media that you desire. Now that we have studied the filter media pads and the order it goes in, we can shut the canister filter itself. And PS, don't forget the gasket, because you don't want this to leak. Our next step is to work on setting up the hoses. What you want to do is first grab these two red-like spanners and twist them onto these ends. What we're then going to do is grab the hose that it came with, cut it in half, that way we have two different hoses because we need an inlet and an outlet. We are going to insert these over these little barb things like this, and we are going to start to twist these red spanners until it holds down the hose. As you twist down these nut-like spanners, you will start to feel it kind of tighten the hose, and what you can kind of do is just give it a little pull to ensure that it is not going to leak and it's a tight fitting. Now we can connect the outlet and inlet connectors to each of these ends. All you have to do is give the hose a little bit of a twist to kind of push it into that rubber connector. So this is the inlet connector, and now what we need to do is attach the hose to the bracketry that holds the hose against the back of the tank. Because the hoses are plastic, they kind of have a tendency not to bend very well, so these brackets that Fluval gives you are a great way to kind of hide that and conceal it on your aquarium. These brackets break down into two different pieces, and you need to align it so that the inlet and outlet are in front of it, if that makes sense. And then what you do is you bend the hose to go through the connection, and you put the cover right over it. We can now go ahead and connect the outlet connector to the other tube just by twisting it in just like the other one. Then followed by also putting on the hose bracket that holds the hose itself. There you have it, guys. We have installed the hoses and the intake and outlet.
All right, so that's how you set up the Fluval 107. Thanks for walking us through that, Chris. Now that we do have this set up and we're in our studio and we actually have a tank that needs this, what do you say we go put it up?
Good. I'm excited.
All right, let's go.
All right, so what we first want to do is we want to run the hoses inside the aquarium here. So what I want to do is I want to dismantle the hoses from the canister itself. And what you usually do is, because this is going under the cabinet, and we'll fill this with water in a second here. This is going to go underneath here. What we want to do is we want to aim to have the hoses come through here and then just plug in there, right? And we'll obviously need some power, so we might as well throw that power cable back there, get it out of the way. All right, so this is usually the hardest part, because you kind of have to envision where you're going to put them on the aquarium. So first, let's start with feeding this back here like this. And I usually try to catch that if I can. Yeah, there we go. See how that works out perfect there. And then you can choose which side you want the output and the inlet on. It's not a huge deal breaker. We're just gonna go with that one here. And what's great about these tanks is they have little spots for them, and it looks beautiful. All right, we may have to play with that a little bit. See how that output isn't underwater? You kind of want that underwater. So there will be some adjusting. All right, so now we're gonna open up the canister and we're gonna fill it with water. So I just filled this up with water. You can fill this up in your sink or however you wanna fill it up with water. Now we're gonna connect it like so. Flip this around. And sometimes the hoses, the hoses need to be moved around a little bit to kind of get a feel where they wanna go. And then that should be ready to turn on. So upon looking at the intake and the outlet here, you can tell the outlet isn't underneath the water and we need that submerged. And this may happen to you. All you have to do is kind of just dismantle this a little bit to kind of, if you can pull it down farther, that's great. Pushing it down farther like that, it's gonna be right around the length we want. That way it's underwater enough that we don't have to worry about it. There we have it. All right, so let's turn it on. So the filter is on, and now I can start priming it because you can kind of see that the water isn't coming out, and that's because air is trapped in the hoses. There you have it, guys, the Fluval 107. This is the complete setup. Follow the channel for more updates and builds. Obviously, you can see we have tons of amazing aquariums. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you. See you in the next one.